welcome to the session. So let me quickly introduce myself. My name is Salim Tutuncu. I'm a Senior Partner Solutions Architect Specialist, and my specialty is on data and AI. My main goal in AWS is actually working together with the data partners and helping them to build long-term profitable businesses together with AWS, and especially on the data and AI space. So today's topic is going to be about the Zero-ETL replication to Amazon SageMaker Lakehouse and Amazon Redshift. And I will be also providing, the live demo and also like some different use cases that will be, I think, hoping to help in your daily life as well. So this is today's agenda. I will not actually spend too much time on the theoretical part, but I will jump into the demo after 5-6 minutes, and I will actually deliver a live demo about the Zero-ETL integration. But let's first start with the why do we need Zero-ETL integration, right? So what are the main challenges that we are actually handling? So first of all, as you know, we have multiple source systems, right? And when we build actually traditional ETL workflows, it can get actually really complex after some point and time consuming because you are going to be building different ETL pipelines for different source systems, and this is going to be challenging for you. And the second challenge is going to be cost. I'm not only talking about the implementation cost of these workflows, but you will be also the one maintaining them. So what I mean by that, let's say that you have an ETL workflow and it failed. And who is going to actually, look after this ETL workflow and fix the problem? And probably it's going to be a data engineering team, right? And this is going to add another cost. And the third one is the time to analytics. And maybe this one is one of the most important one, because imagine if you are building a use case around a real-time use case, right? So for example, maybe a fraud detection or predictive analytics or something around the service interaction, customer service interaction. And when you have these ETL pipelines, and especially if you are building like with a staging area, and then it will impact your time to analytics, right? So because whenever also there is a change in these pipelines, somebody needs to actually make these changes and test it and deploy it. And this takes a lot of time, and this will be actually a really valuable time. And finally, and this is one of the facts, the data is siloed, right? So data, most of the time, siloed across the organization. And if I ask you to provide a unified view of a customer, so you need to actually bring data from different multiple systems. And this is going to be a challenge. And we need to also break this silo. So what is the solution? So our solution is, so we were investing a lot to the Zero-ETL feature lately. But if you ask me what is Zero-ETL, I can define it as, so it eliminates the traditional ETL pipeline complexity. And how we do that? We do that with creating automatic and also the real-time data integration between the AWS services. So one of the best benefits of the Zero-ETL feature is actually simplifying your data architecture, right? So you are getting rid of the traditional ETL pipelines, and you will have a much simpler data architecture. And moreover, so it will be costly efficient because you are not going to be the one the maintaining these ETL pipelines. So you will just create this integration once, and then you will just monitor it time to time. And whenever there is a change, you will see in the demo, it will be reflected to the target automatically. And also, it will providing the near real-time insight, right? So also, you are going to have a chance to see during the demo, whenever I change something on the source system, it will be reflected to the data warehouse immediately. And why I am using the term near real-time is because it really depends on the size of the change that you do on the source system, right? So if you do a bulk change on the source system, of course, it will be some delay, but we would call this as a near real-time. And finally, since we have the data silos and we need to break them, to provide the unified view, you can use the features like Zero-ETL, autocopy, or stream ingestion to actually build a unified view of a customer. And today's use case is going to be about the customer 360, and actually really fits on this. And this is what you can see on the screen is what is currently available, right? So we have Zero-ETL integrations for data sources and also for the applications. So when it comes to data sources, I can say the DynamoDB, Aurora PostgreSQL, Aurora MySQL, and also the RDS for MySQL. But not only that, we are also having the application integration. So like Salesforce, SAP, and ServiceNow all actually can integrate to Lakehouse architecture with the Zero-ETL. So this is great, right? So, but after we integrate this data, where all this data goes, and the answer is here, the SageMaker Lakehouse. For the folks who doesn't know what is Amazon SageMaker Lakehouse, so let's start from the bottom, right? So with the Zero-ETL integration, we feed data into the Lakehouse architecture. But what is Lakehouse? So Lakehouse is the combination of data lake and data warehouse. So we are actually combining the power of data warehouse and data lake together. So what are those? So first of all, data warehouses are ACID transactions, right? So you can actually provide ACID transaction. You can change data, run, maybe insert, delete, update queries on the data warehouses. And secondly, they are actually really good at parallel processing. So they are really performant. And what are the advantages of data lakes? So if you think about, for example, object store you use as a data lake, it will provide you first flexibility and also the scalability, right? So you will be handling the data like unstructured data, semi-structured data, or structured data within the data lakes. And also, like object storage can actually scale almost indefinitely, right? And on top of that layer, we will have the data and AI governance. So one of the most critical part of the data and AI governance is, in my opinion, is the unified catalog. So if you have the unified catalog, imagine that you are working as an analyst. And you can actually go into the catalog and actually search whatever you are looking for. And instead of checking here and there, it will provide the unified picture of all your data organization. And of course, not only that, within the data and AI governance, I'm talking about the data quality, I'm talking about the data lineage, and also, providing who will access what part of the data. It will be also covered in the data and AI governance layer. And finally, on top of all of this, we will be providing the Unified Studio. So it is going to be your one-stop shop for anything relevant with data, right? So anything around the SQL analytics, anything around the generative AI or machine learning application, you will be able to actually use the Unified Studio. And I will also demo it today. So without further ado, let's jump into the demo. And I will explain what we are going to do today. Okay. So first of all, before I start the demo, I would like to actually show you the architecture, okay? So this is a financial service use case architecture for Customer 360. This is very typical architecture, right? So if I zoom in, you will see better. So let's start from the leftmost side, right? So from the data sources. You can see that we have data sources like customer account profile, transaction history, product usage, and also the customer service interaction data. And as I said earlier, right, so we normally don't have data sources from a single source. So we have multiple different sources, right? So some of them is actually the data lakes, some can be comes from the operational store, and some can be from a stream data, right? And maybe some of them also like a NoSQL database. So we need to actually, the idea is combine all this data into a data warehouse, and then ideally in the Lakehouse architecture. And then after we store this data, we can publish as a data owner this data into the unified catalog. And then data consumers, so this is going to be within your organization, right? So they will be able to actually use the publish subscribe model, and they can search the unified catalog and use the whatever data that they need. So for example, in this example, you will see the risk profiling team using the transaction history and financial behavior data. And fraud detection team is using the product usage data, right? And Then, as I said, there will be an also data access layer. So some may be going to run the BI application through the Amazon QuickSight, and some will be running the generative AI application with Amazon Bedrock, or you can use the SageMaker AI for any traditional AI ML or generative AI use cases. So on top of all of this, we will have SageMaker Unified Studio. Now I will show you in a minute. So this is going to be the one-stop shop for data processing, SQL analytics, and also the generative AI application development. So today, we will be focusing mostly on number 3 and 4, and actually build together how we are going to make this integration, okay? So first, our first goal, so this is our Aurora MySQL database. And we are going to create a Zero-ETL integration between Aurora MySQL and Amazon Redshift serverless. So first thing, we are going to actually go to AWS console. So let me, I think it is visible. I assume that you are already familiar with the AWS console. But if you are not, so this is the search bar where you can use to access the different services. So I will go to the Aurora and first define the Zero-ETL integration, okay? And this is actually the UI. So I can maybe zoom in a little bit more so you can see better. I scroll down on the menu, and there is a section called Zero-ETL integration. So when you click on this and scroll down, you will see all available integrations in this list. If you want to create a new one, you just need to hit the Create Zero-ETL integration button and give it a name. So let's give my Zero-ETL integration. And when you click on Next, it will ask you to actually choose your source. So when you click on Browse RDS databases, you will see all available databases in your account. So I have, as you can see, Aurora PostgreSQL, Aurora MySQL, and one RDS MySQL. I will use the Aurora MySQL database for this use case. And you can also define the filters, right? So for example, you don't need to move all data from your source systems to the target, but you can include and exclude some data sets. So for this use case, I will not define any filter. And when it comes to target, you can either choose from your current account, or you can choose from a different account. And when I click on Browse, it will list down all the Redshift available targets. So most of them are serverless. And I will choose one of them, right? And after the check, I will click on Next. And it will ask me to review and create the Zero-ETL integration. I will not click on Create because it will take around 10 minutes. For the sake of time, I will show you more interesting stuff. And I will be using one of the integration which is created already. So if you go to integration details, you can see the information about what is the data warehouse, what is the target identifier. You can see all of them, right? So what we did, now we created a Zero-ETL integration between Aurora MySQL and Redshift, and this is that simple. And the next thing that we are going to do, we will connect to our Amazon Redshift serverless cluster, and we will be actually creating a database, okay? But before, as I mentioned you earlier, so you can access all this, as I said earlier, with the SageMaker Unified Studio, right? So let me introduce the SageMaker Unified Studio. So this is a separate URL, as you can see. This is SageMaker Unified Studio, and it welcomes you with the message. And you will see the different sections, like Discover part, so you can query the catalog, and you can also build the machine learning or generative AI applications, or you can use for the data processing. And from this, I will click on Build, and from Data Analysis part, I will choose Query Editor, and it will ask me the project. So what is project? It is actually an isolated environment to collaborate with your colleagues, right? So it's create an isolated environment, so it's going to be the assets and resources dedicated to you, and you will be easily collaborate with your colleagues. And after that next step, so there is a table called SVV integration in Amazon Redshift. So I just need to query this and get the integration ID, right? So my source was Aurora MySQL, and I will get the integration ID here, and I will create a database in my target system. So what I did, I actually map my Zero-ETL integration ID with the database in the target. So of course, because I newly create this, So let me show you how it looks like. It's going to be empty, right? So I just expand my cluster, and this is my database. And when I actually open it, so as you can see, it's empty. So now what we are going to do, we will populate some data on the source system, and we will see how it's reflecting on the target. I will get some now query from my script. So what I do, I just create two tables from the source system with one called customer and the another one called transaction history, and then insert them into the source system, okay? So my SQL session is ready if it's not that. So let me double check. So this is my SQL session. And I just run now the comment that I shared earlier with you. So I'm just simply creating two tables and inserting with the data in it. And now what I will do, I will switch to my SageMaker Unify Studio. And I will update the cluster. And when I refresh, I am expecting to actually see two tables actually generated already here, right? So if I expand it, you can already see financial analytics schema is created on the target, and there are two tables available. So let's query it. So this will create a query, right? So let's get rid of the limit. And if I order, so I just inserted 10 records, and it is immediately can be seen in my Redshift data warehouse. So what else we can do? So what if there is a new transaction, right? So this doesn't have to be, by the way, insert. It can be an update or delete operation. So I go to my MySQL again and insert the new record. And I am just typing, select start. Let's confirm if everything is OK. And as you can see, I have now IDs from 1 to 11 in my source database. So let's go back to Amazon Redshift. And let's check that if it's already reflected. So when I order, and you can see the ID 11 already reflected also here. So this is not only the data insert or the data update, right? So what if I change the schema, right? So for example, let's say I realize that I am missing one of the column in my data set, and I would like to actually edit. So let's do that. I have some alter table statement, right? I am adding new column called transaction status, and I'm updating all the columns with the completed. So when I run this, and let me check if everything reflected correctly. So let me zoom out. So you can see that the transaction status, new column, has been added to the source, and now updated all rows with the completed. And let me go back and rerun the query. So you can see that in real time, it's actually reflected on my target data warehouse. So you don't need to manage like traditional ETL pipelines. You don't need to actually maintain them. You can just define this integration one, and then it will be taking over the heavy lifting from your side. So, but this is great. OK, I move through data set if I open my reference architecture and zoom in. So, OK, I created the two sources, and I defined the Zero-ETL integration. And there are some now data available in the Redshift serverless in my target. So what else I can do, right? So I would like to build a use case from this integration. So let me check my options. So let's say that, so in this use case, I am a data scientist, right? And I know that there is some customer service interaction data, so, but I don't have any information about the technical details, what are the columns in it, if I can use it or not. I have no information. So what you can do, you can open the SageMaker Unify Studio, and you can actually search your catalog, right? So as I said, let's assume that I don't know anything. I just need service interaction data to use in my use case in future. So when I search for it, it gives me the list of items from the catalog. And let's say that the one service interaction quality is interesting. So if I open it, it will first provide me all the business metadata information, right? So what is this data about? What are the possible use cases and how you can use it? Who is the owner of this asset? How frequently it is generated, if it includes the PII data or not. So I'm not talking about the technical metadata, right? So you can also see the business glossary, and you can define for your data assets. And moreover, you can take a look at the schema, right? So you can see what are the available columns, what are their definitions. For example, there is something called average satisfaction, and the average satisfaction score of the customer's interaction with the service. And OK, so this is great, but what is the source of this data? And I would like to also see the lineage. So you can also see the lineage information within the same UI. So when you click on the lineage, it will build the graph for us, and it will show you how it flows, right? So for example, here this is a published asset, and if you go on the left side, and you will arrive to the source. So in this case, the source is materialized view. But what is the source of materialized view? I click on the arrow on the left, and now this will provide me more information. So it says that, OK, there are two tables. One is the customer table. This is the one we actually created through Zero-ETL. And the another one, it is called customer service interaction stream. So this is the stream data which actually came from the Kinesis, OK? And I'm actually merging these two data together and joining them and building a use case. So more interestingly, if you expand the columns, right? So you, let's say, wonder what is the source of the customer ID. So you can just click on the customer ID, and it will highlight from end to end where this is coming from, right? So if I, move this little bit, you can see that the customer ID is coming from here. So for example, let's check the average satisfaction score. So where does it come from? You can't see anything in terms of the highlighting, but it means that there is a business logic, right? So you can click on the job run node, and if you scroll down, you will see the SQL statement, which actually generates the materialized view, and you can here see in the highlighted part how it's calculated. So OK, so this already gives me a good idea. So I have a customer table that I know I created with the Zero-ETL. And I also have a customer service interaction table. And I am looking at it. There is an issue description, which is the issue that my customer has, and the resolution description. OK, I'm a data scientist, and I would like to build a simple model where I would like to actually make the customer interaction personalized. So I would like to also use generative AI. But I don't want to move my data away. So the good news is you can integrate Amazon Bedrock, which is a fully managed generative AI service, with the Amazon Redshift. So you don't need to move any data outside of Redshift, but you can actually call the API by creating just SQL script. So let me show you how you can do that. So I go back to my SageMaker Unify Studio, and I'm now in my cluster. So now I am creating one materialized view. So let me drop if there is an existing one. Yeah. So it's dropped the existing one. So look at the script. So it's a very simple script. I am joining the customer service interaction stream, which I showed you earlier, with the Zero-ETL table, the customer table. OK? And so I'm bringing the customer name and email information, because I will be generating a personalized email for my customer. And I'm writing the prompt then. So I do everything in the SQL, as you can see. So as a new field, I am writing a prompt. So you are a customer service assistant. Your task is to write a short, clear, and informative email to a customer. And then I am providing inputs, right? So customer name, issue description, and the resolution description. And then I'm providing the guidelines. So use friendly and professional tone, greet customer with their name, and then briefly explain what's the issue and what's the resolution. So let's create this materialized view. And then what we are going to do, we are going to actually call Amazon Bedrock and provide personalized email for these use cases. OK? So I created my materialized view. Let me show how does it look like. So there is a customer name, email, and also the prompt, right? And the next step, so here in the highlighted part, I am creating an external function, so which actually connects to the Amazon Bedrock, right? So the key point here is you can also use SageMaker here, but you, instead of the model ID or model name, you need to define the endpoint. So here, the source is the Bedrock, source of my function, and I'm using one of the Anthropic model, okay? And then next thing, you just need to call this function. You can think this as a UDF, as a user-defined function, and run this. So I will be running only for myself, so the dummy data, and you will see the email here. So now it generated an email from the issue description and the resolution. So it says, "Dear Salim Tuduncu, thank you for contacting our customer support team. I understand you are having trouble setting up the recurring transfers, right? So there was an issue with the two-factor authentication. It says, okay, I have resolved this by updating your contact information in our system, so you should now be able to complete the recurring transfer." So this is very simple use case where you can actually create with the generative AI without moving any data outside of your data warehouse. So of course, there is one thing which is very important. So if you look at the data set that I have, so I created the multiple prompts for each customer, right? I actually wanted to ask you a question, but let me explain what would go wrong here. So imagine that you have thousands of rows of the customers, and you would like to actually create a personalized email for every one of them. And if you actually do this way, it's not going to be too wise, right? So why? Because first, you are going to call API multiple times, the Bedrock API, for every one of these users. And the second, you are actually using the same prompt multiple times. So instead of that, what you can do, you can use the aggregation function on SQL. So instead of creating each line for every customer, so you can create a list of customer, list of issues, and list of resolutions, okay? And then when you actually run it once, it will be giving you the all personalized email, and it will save a huge on the cost side. So that was it from my session today. If you have any question, we can catch up. So let me actually put this on the screen. And we can connect on LinkedIn, or if you have any more questions, I will be around, maybe around the GenAI booth. So I would be more than happy to answer any of your questions that you might have. Thank you very much. Thank you for your time. And enjoy the rest of the summit.